I'm Brian Johnson, Vice President of Sales at American Litho, and I'm here to tell you we are much more than just a printer. There was a large opportunity of work that came my way through referral. It was 5 million web offset catalogs, they're oblong catalogs, and it was a really high quality piece on some really nice stock. I took it upon myself to call the prospect, get some of the specifications about the paper, and in the American Litho way, we decided to go a little bit deeper and find out just what his direct mail program was all about. I contacted the prospect. He then sent me a sample of the entire direct mail package that this catalog was within. We saw that everything in that package was something that American Litho could do. After a course of about a week, we had everything estimated just the way the customer wanted it. Terms and condition piece, just the size they wanted on the stock they wanted. We had an order form exactly the way they wanted it. So everything was done perfectly to spec and we quoted out the job. After several conversations, it was determined that he was using 3 printers to do this piece. They were using a sheet-fed printer, they were using a web printer, and they're also using a letter shop house to do the mailing. And this was all done on the West Coast. It struck me that something just didn't make sense here. And I tried to, as we all do at American Litho, to try to really break this thing down. Where can we be of value to this prospect? So after the estimates were complete on this project, the value of the paper turned out to be $1.4 million, and that's 52% of the entire print project. The mill that they were using was approximately 100 miles from our plant. I went to the mill and I asked them a couple questions. I asked them what our discount would be if we were to receive this paper in rolls rather than sheets, ship it in rail cars rather than trailer cars to American Litho. And I also asked them how much our discount would be if they didn't have to ship it 1,952 miles, but only 100 miles. And their response was, same price. With that said, I knew that I had to do something about paper. I took it upon myself to find a paper mill in the Wisconsin area that was willing to make the grade, the type, and the basis weight and the quality of paper that this prospect was using for a huge reduction in price. We ran a trial test. We brought back some sheets to American Litho. We printed on those sheets and sent it to the customer for approval, and he loved it. With that approval and with that paper mill being involved, American Litho was able to save this prospect $790,000 a year just in paper. The next part of my investigation was manufacturing, and there were 2 parts of manufacturing that stood out. And the first and one of the most important was that our competitor was producing the product in 3 different plants. They had a sheet-fed plant, they had a web offset plant, and they had a plant that was doing all of their letter shop. It took them 39 days to produce all of this. American Litho proposed to produce the entire piece all under one roof with our web equipment, sheet-fed equipment, and inserting equipment. When we looked at our manufacturing plan, a consolidated manufacturing plan under one roof, it went down to 17 days. We cut their schedule in half. When you reduce your cycle time by 2 weeks, you now have fresh data. We're enhancing the customer's ability to give us fresh names each month. In turn, the customer is hoping that those fresh names are turning into higher response rates for their direct mail pieces. I noticed that the catalog itself was 5 5/8 high. And 5 5/8 does not measure well on a web offset press. 5 3/8 measures quite well. So I suggested that we take that 1/8 inch off. It turned out to be $1.4 million a year in savings to run that 4-up rather than 3-up. I took that catalog into my boss's office and I put it down in front of him and I said, if I took 1/8 inch off of this catalog, I could save you $1.4 million per year. And you know what he said? He said, if you took another 1/8 inch off, could you save me another $1.4 million? The catalog piece had a large image on the front that they were showcasing. And through our web presses, and there aren't many in the United States that have this, we have the ability to UV coat, spot UV coat. So at no additional charge, we agreed that we would provide them a spot UV coat around their image to really make that image that they're trying to sell pop off the page. In some of the programs that we've run using these enhanced coatings on the front cover, response rates can increase up to 11 to 12%. The mail on this project was originating in Orange County, California. And for most mailings that are national, 80% of it is east of the Rockies. That correlated into 23 mail trucks having to go from Orange County to the Bolingbrook corridor, which is located here in the Chicago area, which is approximately 1,900 miles. That Bolingbrook corridor is about 20 miles from our plant. So it's not hard to figure out that there's going to be some savings there. The net savings to our customer on an annualized basis was approximately $1.2 million. That's just in mail freight. So what does all in mean to American Litho and to this process? All in means taking a piece, tearing it apart, trying to find some alternative stocks for this customer, trying to find a better way to produce this, trying to find a faster way to produce this. And all in this time turned into be $790,000 in paper savings, $1.2 million in postal savings, and $1.4 million in manufacturing savings, and cycle time reduction from 39 days to 17 days. And let's just throw in the fact that we made their catalog look even snappier by putting a UV coating on there. That's all in.